Hello, I'm Linku. That's what I go by for my modding shenanigans, and I will be here to record a process of animation modding. So when I say a process, I will not be going through all the different things I mentioned in my document guide. That sounds so formal, but I don't know what I'm doing. But I want to share with y'all anyway, just so you have a kind of idea of what I do. So first off, you will want the PAP files of the animations. Well, PAP files are the animations. So you want the animation of the thing you want. So for my example, I'll be using the F Mikote pose again. And the second PAP file you want is the emote you want to replace. So I will be replacing the F Aura pose emote. So like Mikote to Aura. We need those two files. So to find those two files, I will be doing the editor mode instead. So you wanna go to this app, you can close this window, and then you click this magnifying glass, go to game items, and look through whichever is more appropriate. I don't know if you'll ever use non-player action or NPC. Well, maybe, depends. But you'll typically want action or emote. Action is for like your skills and stuff, and emotes are your emotes. So now you want to search for the thing you want. And you could see here, like we have all these different races and genders. But for example, if you have like something like this where it's just Midlander M, Rogaden M, Lalafell M, like where are the other races? That's because the other races are use the same animation from a core, I guess like a base or a core kind of race and gender. So for the case of Midlander M, you'll see that like Elezen, Mikote, Ara, Viera, Highlander, Rogaden F would be using Midlander M. I don't know if I missed anyone, and I'm sorry if I did. Rogaden M is Hrothgar also uses Rogaden M, and Lalafell F also uses Lalafell M. So just pick whichever of these is more fitting to your character and stuff. So we're gonna look for the Ara pose because I already have the Mikote pose. So I would go over here, select, and you can double check if it's the right one because it's kind of confusing sometimes with all these buttons right next to each other. And then with this loaded, you could click this export as a raw file. Now I already exported a file. You can name it whatever you want. I would be extra careful myself and put in the race and gender anyway, even if I have folders for it, just in case, because I may mix things up. And you would do the same for Mikote F, but because I have that, I will skip that for now. Next, you want the skeletons, or I don't know what the shortcut or file name means, but this is, you just want the skeletons or the bones of the characters who uses these emotes and stuff. So for Mikote F, okay, wait. So I would open the Explorer. I would open here and click this one, 040000. This is in your XIV game file or folder somewhere, like your program files or whatever. I won't really go into that because that's I am not good at explaining things, but I try my best. So anyway, for Mikote F, their racial code is 0801. Now you want to scroll down in Car Human 0801. Oh, we just missed it. 801. No, not yet. We need the skeleton, so we need the 801 skeleton. Scroll up a bit. This is a delicate task for someone impatient. Aha, here it is. Car Human C0801 skeleton base B01. Now you want this third one over here, the one that ends with SKLB. I I don't know what it means, but I call it skill bones. So you will just extract raw and save wherever you want. I already have a save of it somewhere in my file. I am not that orderly, I will admit. And then for Aura female, their number is 1401. So you go Kara, human 123401. Then we go to skeleton. I already opened it, so here it is. Then you'd also do an extract draw. Excuse me, I don't have water with me. So now with all that out of the way, I would recommend that you also get a full body, like a mesh or stuff for the race you want to be animated. So in my case, since I want the Mikote pose to the Aura pose, I would look for an Aura. I would compile myself an Aura full model body. So let me just close these so it's not as coloring. Let's see here. Tools, full model viewer. I have that open. Now you could check if I recommend checking this export complete select skeletons, but then I turn it off after I'm done with this full model view. So what I do is look for character, face, aura, female, models, and then add to FMV. Doesn't really matter which kind you want. So here's our lady. Let's give her some hair. Aura, female. Let's just pick this one, add to FMV. Tail, because she has a tail. Add to FMV. Sometimes it may take a while. And they don't have ears. We can't put face paint as far as I know, nor equipment decals. So we're gonna do that. Now let's look for gear. Now I will go the easy route and look for the Aura Ari. Okay, yeah. No, this is Aura male. Be mindful that you want the same race, or if you have like something like everyone can wear. For like females, it's usually the Midlander female you want. If it's a male, you want, and there's no like specific races, you want the like Midlander male, or Highlander, or Rogadin, or Olafel, stuff like that. So now here's our Aura female, add to FMV. Do the same for the rest. I'm not familiar with my... No, this is for male. This one. Hands. She has hands now. Legs. Add it. And then feet. Add. So now we have a full model. I'll just export, save it to whatever Aura female guide for this purpose. It might take a while because I guess it's a lot going on. Now in the meantime, if your character's body clips into each other in this model viewer, I don't think it really is much here. It is cool, but if they do clip, it doesn't really matter in Blender because that doesn't have anything to do with the animating. That's just for like the visual, and also this viewer thing doesn't really like take into account all the metadata and stuff. It just slaps them on and stuff like that. Now we can close all this. Hello. And not Blender yet, but we will get there. Now optional, something optional you could do if you really want to be extra. I haven't explained it yet in my animation text guide, but if you want to be extra, you can look for this, an animation file that contains the idle poses for your character. Here, this one, idle.pat. It's under the Cara, Human, C, XXX, Animation, A0001, BT Common, Resident. It's under there. This is where your idle animation is, like the default idle. Now, why is this optional? So, well, I won't explain, but that just makes it so that the transition of animation looks smoother on a different race. I explained it in the guide. I have no water. What next? What next? What next? XAT. So for XAT, we'll want to load the path of the animation we want. So let's look for the animation of the Mikote F pose and the Mikote F skeleton. I am a mess. Do not perceive me. Code F. Double check that it's the right file. Miko F is 801. Yes. Now, we want to click on this CBEM thing and then pick FBX and export and save it where you want. Animations. This one. F Miko pose untouched. I guess. Let's do that. Okay. Now we want to import that into Blender, but okay, we want to import the full body first. So now let's go and import FBX. But actually, if you don't have it done yet, you may not be able to import it yet. So go to Blender Preferences, Add-ons, search FBX, and be sure that this Import Export FBX format is checked. Okay, now let's import. I have a little shortcut here, and here's the model we exported earlier. Now you want to be sure that this primary bone axis over here is X and this one is Y. This is very important. And do not check ignore leaf bones. That is important for later. Now we have a little lady. She looks kinda weird, but with this little plugin over here, it's from Meku. You can just click this. There are all textures and fix metallic. You don't really have it, but I just learned it's helpful. And yeah, there she is. Now what I would do is select all these empties and delete it with X, and select all these upside down triangles and join them. This makes it kind of easier to like just have everything selected off the bat. Now we want to import the animation. So let's see here, animations, if pose, untouched, be sure that it's X and Y, import. Now let's hide our aura lady for now and check if this emote is doing its thing. Yes, there it is. There's the tail wagging and there's the pose. Now you can see it down here. This is my timeline. There's nothing in this space and it's only from this to here. So you want to change the end. I don't know if you can see it because of my head. The end over here into the last frame from here. And in this case, it is 176. 176. So that is the end frame now. I hope you can see that. And yeah, so let's bring back our girl. Select her armature. And I use this retargeting plugin. Enroute 001, which is this animation. I have a configuration from some time ago. I've linked it in the document And here it is listed with other bonds. I don't know if I named it that still. And here we are. And then the final touch is to click setup and move a bone a little bit because it wouldn't work otherwise. I like to click this tiny little bone over here and move it slightly. Ever so slightly. And click apply. It might take a bit. Oh, she changed her pose. She's not in A pose anymore. And there you go. She's a bit slow though, but that is understandable because I think that Blender is trying to still retarget all of this in real time. We can hide that for now. So yes, it's trying to calculate or something instead of already knowing the calculation. I don't know how to explain, but for now let's just scrub through the animation. Things look fine. If things look okay to you, and it does to me, I simply click this bake into action button. Now this might take a while because like this is like rendering stuff and whatever in a sense. Oh yeah, speaking of, while we're here, this frame rate, oh, Blender is freezing. But this frame rate over here, you want to be sure that it's 30 FPS. You could find this in this little icon over there. Okay, that's fine. It might still look slow for now, but if we click this X beside rest alignment, reset rest pose, okay, and it's no longer attached to the armature, so it's like the animation has been baked into the armature we want to animate, if that makes any sense. So we do that, and wow, it can play smoothly. Now if you want to do any more extra edits, you can like go into pose mode and like edit the timeline. Yeah, whatever. You usually just want to mess with the rotation. Scale, not so much. Location, not so much. Maybe. No, yeah, no. Not really. Unless you want to do like extreme movements or whatever. But yeah, this is more animation territory, and I know I'm talking about animation, but I'm not gonna teach how to animate. I'm just here to teach you how to retarget, at least with the tools I'm using. So what I will do next, I will delete these two little things and go up here to this little en route animation and rename this to be something I can recognize. This is the one. For example, I will do that. And with all that done, I would simply export as an FBX. Miko pose to FR1. Now be sure that your armature is also X and Y. X primary, Y secondary. Make sure. I don't know if the add leaf bones matter. It doesn't seem to, even though if you try to import this, it might look a bit messy. But yeah, you can export that. Ahem. Excuse me. Next, we want to go back into XAT and look for the path file, not the FBX. So we want to look for the path file of the pose emote of the FR. So let's look for that. F, pose for RF, and let's look for her skeleton base one, this one. Now we want to load our animation into the import here. Let's go back to the F, and this is where that renaming comes in handy for me. I like, this is the one I want. and we click import. It may take a bit, and it says 176 frames, which is indeed 176 frames. If you didn't change that FPS, the number of the frames might be different and kind of mess up with your animation. Next, we want to go to compression. We pick predictive and compress. And then we want to go to our timeline, click this actor, and look through our tracks. Now this track 3 over here, it says CO42, CO4, C0, well, who cares? That's for footsteps. Now, you could probably figure out when the footstep tapping noises are. Like if you go like da 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 boom, frame 34 maybe is when the foot lands on the ground. That's a footstep. So I think you could put that frame 34 here, but I am not that knowledgeable about how this works. So what you can do, if you want it all gone, you just delete it, just like that. But you could edit it and try to match it up with your animation if you want. Now over here we have CO10. Now let me remember what CO10 means. CO10 are expressions I mentioned in my document. So I'm not sure how exactly to work with expressions yet, but you could either not touch them and let your character in-game use an expression emote so we can override or overwrite that expression, or you can try and figure this thing out. I'm not sure exactly. There's this face library thing I'm not exactly sure of, although there has been a little text from VFXEditor that also mentions the face library, so you could possibly look into that if you want. CO10, 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 lots of these expressions. But the CO9, this is how long your animation will play. So since our animation ends at 176, we want to change this into 176. Now you can try to maybe line this up until wherever, but that's not for me. Expressions, not yet. I will figure it out eventually, maybe, who knows. But for now, let's just save this. Name it a file you can understand. RAF Nico Pose RF1. Now you saved your pack. Now you can go into TexTools, go to Tools, Raw File Operations, Import Raw File, and then paste the destination path of the RAF. Excuse me, RAF animation or path. Like this one, we can look for it again. Copy. So like, if you go here, you can like paste it. Double check. 1.4. I think 1.4. Yes, 1.4 is for FRA. Now Miko F pose for FRA1. This is what I saved it as. Oh. So this enable to import file, you need to close Explorer because this is also like looking into the data, I guess. So if you do this again, import file after it's closed, and file imported successfully. And TexTools minimized itself. Okay. And then you can create a mod pack, basic mod pack, look for posing in this case, because it's for that, because the file path ends with posing.path. Now let's pick this one and fill in the blanks. Miko F pose for RF version 1.0.0 because we're not. Create mod pack. And okay. You could technically do the same here as well. You could also, so for instead of loading the email from here, let's look for it, RF. You want that to be in this path being replaced section, and instead here you want to look like local file, browse, and look for that path file you made with XAT. Animation, no, not here. Miko F pose. This one, you can do that, and then you could just update. I won't because I don't know how to undo. But this parsing issues thing, I'm not sure why it's like that. It seems to be fine, and it does work alright. And let us look for the mod we just made, and F that, and enable it in your characters collection. And I'm not an aura evidently, so I'll use Glamourer or Anamnesis if I wanted to. I promise I don't normally use the white version of this, but it's been open a bit. Oh my god, it's so bright. And over here you can like change your gender and race and stuff. I'll just close it for now. But something like this, and look for an aura, refresh with Penumbra redraw self, and let's check it out. There she goes. So you may notice at the end of this animation that like, what's she doing over there? Why do you do that? Why do you like slide like that? That's what I meant. I don't know if I don't remember if I mentioned it earlier about the idle pose. So the idle, let's see, let's change our pose to, okay, this is our idle pose. Now when you do an emote, you usually start in that idle pose and then end in that idle pose for your original race. And because that Mikote F uses animation is for, well, Mikote F, their idle animations are different. Their default animations anyway. And so you, for a second, do the Miko F animation before I link going back to your aura idle animation, for example. I sound like I'm dying, but I'm okay, I promise. I just noticed that my VTuber fella is making a funny face. Okay, I'm okay, I promise. Now you also might notice that her expressions are, yeah, it probably follows the expressions from her normal pose emote. Let's disable it for now and see what she does. No, just kidding. Well, oh right. So I think the VFX editor still is affecting the thing. Let's try and delete that. There we go. Okay, I know how to do that now. So yeah, these expressions were not changed in this animation mod we just made. We did a redraw. So when you do your pose, she's gonna do the same expressions rather, like that, yes, face, and yeah. So if you know how to do that, feel free to reach out or go into the XIV tools server and get yourself the role for XAT and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know if I was coherent at all, but I hope you got to learn something from it. And I'm gonna maybe look for a glass of water. Bye!